Hi friends, welcome to Law Chat with Girja. I'm Girja Bhargav Patel, your host for Law Chat, and I am so excited for you to join us today. I have some amazing guests on Law Chat, and they're here to share their experiences and entrepreneurial journey with us, and through their storytelling, mentorship with us, because that is the whole point. We are all entrepreneurs and we're all on a journey, and learning from one another is the best way for us to move forward in our journey as well. And I have amazing guests who are so willing and ready to share their stories with us, their challenges and their victories and their achievements, and also their mindset. I just can't wait to share that with you, and I also just can't wait to have that conversation with them. It's such a privilege to have each and every one of them here with us today, and also it's such a privilege to have you listening in and tuning in. So let's dive in to Law Chat with Girja. Hi friends, welcome to Law Chat. Is your palate ready to experience the journey of our next guest? I have a celebrity chef with us, Guy Vaknin. Chef Guy is renowned vegan chef known for his New York City restaurants Beyond Sushi and Willow, where he celebrates the plant-based cuisine through innovative flavors, techniques, and presentation. He's appeared on Fox's Hell's Kitchen and ABC's Shark Tank, and plans to continue expanding his restaurants in New York City. In fact, he just expanded more during the whole COVID time as well. He's passionate about bringing veganism to the masses through delicious food and creating a memorable dining experience. Welcome, Chef Guy. With my little research I've done, I have been so fascinated with your journey, and I just cannot wait for the listeners to hear on as well. But
thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I get so floored with all my guests, especially when they've been, on Hell's Kitchen or some other, something of that caliber. I'm like, this is so cool. So thank you so much.
Just cameras and TV, nothing.
And a whole lot of talent and skill on your end. Cameras and TV are great, but that shows so much skill and caliber on your end. And that's what I want to celebrate today and talk about today as well. So before we get into your restaurants and all the things that you are doing today, I really want to talk about, where did this start? Where did this passion for food start?
It's a long story. I mean, I've always been fascinated by food, and being a big kid and eating a lot, and growing at a household that my parents got separated, and I spent a lot of time with my mom, grandma. Family background is from Morocco. Big family gatherings, a lot of celebrating around the family dinners and holidays, and it was always a big thing for us in the family. I got fascinated, I think, by just being around my grandma and seeing how much work she puts into it, how much love she puts into the food, and then it just caught on with me. I think that the first time that I ever felt like I'm cooking for real was actually in the army. I was a fighter. I was in infantry, and we had to cook for ourselves, and we got all this like raw ingredients that didn't make sense. And first time is when I cooked for my guys. One of us had to volunteer, and they were, extremely happy when I used to volunteer, so they can have nice dinners and stuff like that. So that's where it's all started. And then I came to America, and in America, my father owned restaurants. So I got into this world from there on.
Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't know that. Were you in the Israeli Defense Force?
Yes, I was in the Israeli Defense Forces.
That's so wonderful. And
I mean, it's relevant today. So there's a lot going on back there.
There is a lot going on. I'm glad you brought that up also. I feel like it would be remiss to ignore the things that are happening to the regular humans, regardless of the politics and whatever, but they're human lives that are involved. So I'm glad you brought that up.
100%.
And I think it's also very fascinating because I don't know anything about it, actually. And I think a lot of people are like that also. They don't know anything about the Israeli Defense Force and what all that it means. Were you required to be in it?
It is mandatory. I mean, you can pick and choose what you're going to do. Not really, but you can force it in some ways. I came into it it's very different than going to the any other army, or if I compare it to the American army, it's hard. I lived in the city that gets rockets every day. So that's where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So you see it live. I mean, it's right there. I used to call my girlfriend to go back inside the house because rockets are coming from there before there was alarms and stuff like that. So it's a very surreal, very real, struggle every day, and you feel like you're protecting your home at the end of the day. So it's very different. The connection is different, but it's a very messed up situation. I spent 3 years in Gaza, so I know it. I
Mm-hmm.
spent 3 years inside, so I know it in and out, and I know the situation. I'd rather not comment about it. I think that it is what it is, and
I can appreciate that.
there's many smarter, wiser politicians and people out there that know more about it
Yeah.
than both of us.
Well, I appreciate that. And I wanted to ask you though, that experience, of course, you were now kind of on a lighter note, you were cooking for your peers over there, and then you came to the
Yeah,
States and you were actually pursuing a computer engineer degree when you first came.
yeah, yeah. So
So,
my parents didn't feel like it's the right thing for me. Like every other parents, they want their kids to
yeah.
be doctors or lawyers or whatever it is. And for me, going out of the army and being so active and being basically in war, you never sit on your bum,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hard for me to stay in the classroom and keep sane. So I decided that also because of early life situations, seeing how fragile we are, I said to myself that I'm going to pursue what I love and what I want to do, and I just did it. I
Mm.
didn't know that it's going to lead to this,
Yeah.
but I went with it, and that's it.
It's so beautiful is the fact that you did face certain situations that I think the average person in America has absolutely never faced in their life, and they have zero comprehension of it. But you use that to shape your future in such a way where you're like, I'm not going to give up on a dream and let this
Yeah,
go. Life is so fragile. There's only one
yeah,
life to live. Live it the
yeah,
best way you can. And that's so beautiful. And so your father had restaurants. And so
yeah. He had 6 restaurants.
was he
Yeah,
also a chef? 6 restaurants. Wow.
yeah, yeah. No, he actually in his former life was a police officer in Israel. He
Mm-hmm.
immigrated to the United States, try to make the American dream come true. His mom is the grandma I was talking about, and my mom's mom. So he had also the same background with food, but he didn't. He was an operator. He owned the business. He had chefs that worked for him.
Mm.
But for me, the food portion of it was always a draw that pulled me in. I don't know how and why, but it's something that I dream about and
Yeah.
think about all the time. So
So did you ever work for your dad or like work in the
I
family
did.
business then?
Yeah, I did. I did. I mean, part of why I own Beyond Sushi today is because I worked for him,
Mm-hmm.
and not the good part, the part that you don't get along with your family and you decide that you want to do something else. But I worked with him for a while, and at 24 years old, my dad said, after I finished my culinary school, he said, "Okay, you're the chef. Good luck." And then 6 months afterwards, he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to Israel for a year and a half, so run the business too."
Oh,
Um, yeah, at
wonderful.
25, yeah, at 25, I was running a business, and I'm the executive chef, and I don't know anything about it. So I lost him a bunch of money, but I didn't let it, okay, my dad gave it to me and now I'm going to be okay. I worked really hard to know and learn the business. And I learned, on that platform, I learned how to run a business, how to be a chef, how to do all that stuff. But when he got back, we didn't get along. So I said, okay, buddy, I got to do my own thing. And then that's how I opened Beyond Sushi. I mean, there was a few things along the process that came, but
Wow.
yeah,
Okay, that's a bold step to start your own business, start your own
yeah.
restaurant. So was that just a real easy whim of a decision, or was that a decision that you really contemplated and thought about?
I did not. That's the truth. I am not. I've always, since I was young, been taught to dive and then learn how to swim. Even learning how to swim was that way when I was younger, thrown into a pool and that's it. And then you learned how to swim. I think that it's very hard when you contemplate about things too long to actually make a move and do it. If you have a passion or if you have something that you're certain about, then you should do it. And I did it not knowing what I'm getting into particularly. I have kind of a Cinderella story about it. I mean, I started basically with nothing. I mean, I took all my life savings. I took a loan with the same amount of my life savings, which is like in total was $140,000. And I opened 280 square feet. I don't even call it a restaurant. I had 12 seats and a counter. And it was me and one employee. And the day before I opened, I went to Chinatown and got some ingredients. And that's how I made my first, batch of of food. And I had $1,000 left. And, opening a restaurant in New York City like that is not the way to go. But what I did is I worked really hard every day. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, prepped the food, washed the dishes, then went up, did the whole day upstairs with that extra chef. And I did that for about a month or two until I hired my first dishwasher. So we were a company of three. Yeah. So it took a while. And then I had Storm Sandy come right 3 months after I opened. The whole place shut down and it was flooded. And so there was a lot of, back and forth and really working hard and understanding, the value of every dollar that comes in. With even surprises with taxes, with this, with that stuff that I didn't know that, comes along as you go. As long as you take the input and evolve, it doesn't matter. You jump in, you start, and then you got to evolve. You gotta make sure that you're growing with it. And I still do till this day, I think.
I think that's such a great description of most entrepreneurs, where you dive and then learn how to swim. Yeah. I think that really describes a lot of the journeys that we have, because you don't know what you don't know, and you're not in a corporate environment where people are just telling you what to do, or they've laid out the knowledge for you in that sense. And so you're really navigating your business, a whole area you've never done before. I hate to interrupt this awesome conversation, but I have to stop and talk with you about the number one thing I'm asked about by entrepreneurs: contracts. They're vital to any business relationship and to protect your business. But I also know that entrepreneurs, especially when you're starting up, money is tight. But I would never want you to compromise on a strong legal foundation. So enter yourcontractbuddy.com, a website created by me with contract templates created and drafted by me and fellow industry partners. They're ready to use and easy to plug in immediately. And they are not restricted to any specific state. So yourcontractbuddy.com is sponsoring this episode, and you and your listener can get 10% off right now with code LAWCHAT. Yes, you heard me right. 10% off right now with code LAWCHAT. And now, back to our awesome conversation. And so was that overwhelming for you initially? I mean, it just sounds overwhelming just hearing that you were a one-man show for a while.
Yeah, it was, but I was under tremendous amount of pressure beforehand while I was working in my dad's company. So I got used to it. I mean, we used to do about 6 weddings a night. I would do all the lists for it, put all the chefs together, operate the whole thing, make sure that it gets their trucks, everything. So to go into a small space where you're serving, 30, 40 people a day in the beginning, and then it grew, wasn't such a big deal. I set my goal from the beginning. I set the model to be in a certain way and growth to be as fast as possible, of course, according to what came in. But in a month's time, we were already doing pretty good numbers because we got a bunch of hype around us that helped us. That helped us grow because it was the first of a kind, doing this stuff. There's no one else that did it.
So did you start off by doing vegan food from the beginning? That was your base?
So initially, I mean, I was very ignorant about this world. That's the truth. And part of learning how to run a good business and how to grow is to actually listen to your customers, hear feedback, and grow. When I first started, it was vegetarian. So there was egg products. And 3 weeks in, with the pressure of the vegan community, I made a decision to change the whole system into being vegan. I just gave up all the egg products and found substitutes that will work for it. It was probably one of the best business decisions I ever made, or even personal decisions, because following that, I became vegan too. I think that if you listen to your customers, which is the most important thing, and not just your ego and whatever you think, it takes you in wonderful, direction, because that's what you're serving at the end of the day.
That's such great advice, is your market research, but really tuning into the customers. So were they just giving you this feedback as they came in and out, or did you actively pursue this feedback?
Both. I tried, because once you're in, I wasn't detached. I was working the restaurant, right? So I'm right there. I'm listening to them every day. I'm taking their orders. I'm making the food. I'm hearing the feedback about the food. Oh, this is like that. This is great. This is not. As long as you don't take it in the wrong way and you hear what the people in front of you saying, the ones that are paying you, you can modify what you do and get better at it. I was reading reviews. A lot of chefs don't like that. They comment about this or they comment about that. And what they know, I live for that. I mean, even today, every review that I get, I go, I read, I assess what they say. I don't, I listen. Doesn't mean that everything that anybody says creates a decision. So I listen, I assess, but when one person says something is not good, it's okay. But when more than one person says that it's not good, you should listen.
Yeah. I think that's such great advice, is to listen and then to act accordingly to what is aligned with your business, and then what feels right also. So I think that's brilliant. So tell me, what were some of the challenges that you first faced when I know you were saying like all these small things like tax and this and that, but what were some of the bigger challenges that you were facing when you first started, and how did you overcome them?
I think that the biggest challenge, and I got gifted with a very good numbers capability. If I didn't have that, I would have had the biggest challenge in the beginning. It's assessing whether you can hire, not hire, how much you can hire, where is the money flow going to, making the right decisions on how to allocate the funds into growth or into making sure that you have a cushion for whatever is coming up. I've been very in tune with every dollar that comes in and the cost when it goes out, and purchasing power as we grew, and where we were going and how to allocate those funds. Everything that we did since inception was self-funded. I've never got anybody's money to put into the business. I believed in it so much that I took the business or my money and invested back in the business and grew the business. And from that little store, which was probably the smallest vegan restaurant in New York City, I also own the biggest one in New York City.
That is awesome. So you own the largest restaurant in New York City?
Vegan restaurant, yeah.
Vegan restaurant.
Not restaurant.
Restaurant, but vegan restaurant. That's fantastic. You own 5 Beyond Sushis, right? Like you've grown to 5 right now. Is that the right number?
7. We had 7 before the pandemic. I had to shut down 2 of them. The ones that I shut down, the leases was over. So it was a decision of signing again or not. And I decided not to sign. Some other ones I extended during the pandemic. But we closed that one. And then in the middle of the pandemic, I decided I'm going to open a different concept on top of the 5 that we already were operating. And the whole thing got a little twist. And today we're expanding into different concepts besides Beyond Sushi. So we're operating 5 Beyond Sushis and 1 Willow. One of the Beyond Sushis is going to be transformed into a taqueria in the next 2 months, which is
a vegan taqueria.
Yeah. Everything vegan. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, I need to come to New York and try all of this. I'm vegetarian and this is everything for me. I will be hitting it up and I will be letting you know I'm coming.
Good. So, we'll treat you well.
No, that is so exciting. And it's really cool because you are not letting loose of the vision that you have and the passion that you have. And I feel like even last year when you said to me just briefly, oh yeah, we opened up another restaurant during the pandemic, That just shows so much vigor and resilience. And I think that is probably very true to your personality also.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I looked at it in a way that said, okay, one, this cannot go forever. It was the hardest time. Like I was living, the first time in my life that I took any loans was during this pandemic, just so the business can survive. So we were living on those loans. Without those loans, we wouldn't be talking. So we're living on them, and I doubled down on it, saying, if we are going to go anywhere, I can't be under the bed anymore. I got to do something about this. And I had a whole, my mindset said, the pool of people in New York City is smaller than it used to be. I also saw the need for a more of comfort food, American style cooking. I also only had one outlet, which was Beyond Sushi. So I was mishmashing it and putting so many things that don't belong to the concept because I wanted to get creative. I wanted to do things. So I needed an outlet. So I opened that one, and that led, and it's been doing great. I mean, thank God for the support and everybody going there. It showed that there is a need for more of these and more concepts, and that's where we're going to go. So I can't have the same person come to Beyond Sushi 5 times a day. So maybe one day here, one day at Willow, one day at Taqueria, one day at my Mediterranean concept, one day in my Italian concept. I mean, the sky's the limit, right? So
it is the limit. And I think it's also very interesting how you picked vegetarian as your niche, and then you further niched it down to vegan. And so sometimes you feel like, oh, this area would have a great following of that. And so that's proved to be beneficial to you? Like, you've had enough people walking through your doors for that?
I was one of the, I'm not going to say first, but there was a vegan community over here. But in 2012, it's not as hip as it is today, right? So making that decision, it wasn't as, it's not like pure business. Oh, I'm going into the plant-based business. Like you see them sprouting everywhere today. So I made that decision because I was very savvy in the world of restricted cooking, because my dad's company was a glatt kosher company. So it was very restrictive. You only can use certain ingredients and certain times and all that stuff. So I had the experience in it, and it's a world I knew, and that's it. I decided to go with that.
That is so cool that you say restrictive, because I even think like being South Asian for me,
challenging.
It's okay. Even from my South Asian culture, we have certain parts in my family also. There are people who are very like vegetarian, but then you can't have onion, you can't have garlic, you can't have this. So it becomes restrictive. It becomes challenging. And also you have to become more creative then in how you're substituting and how you're bringing those flavors together. So I think that's brilliant. And I absolutely love how you've taken every element of your background, your experiences, and really poured that into your businesses. And it's influenced your business and how you're approaching your companies as well. So that's so brilliant. Let's kind of rewind a little bit. And I know you were on Hell's Kitchen, and you were also on Shark Tank. So what were you doing there? How did you get on there, and what did you do?
So for Hell's Kitchen, I mean, I never watched the show before I applied. I got an email from my dad's wife, and she said, oh, these people are looking for this. So I wrote an email back, probably with broken English. It was right in the beginning when I first came here, and they liked the whole story, the army and everything else. And it's reality TV more than anything. So they brought me on for season 8. I did the interviews in LA, and then I didn't get on season 8, but when they were casting for season 9 and 10, they called me and said, hey, we want you to try again. And I said, okay, I'll come by. And I came by, and the whole thing, it just went through. I went again to LA and did the whole thing. And it was great. I mean, it was a great experience. It's the first time I ever worked under a chef. Like I told you, my dad said, okay, you're the executive chef. Good luck. So that was the first time and only time that I worked under a chef,
Yeah.
which was Gordon Ramsay on television. But it was a good experience. They were looking more for reality TV, and I decided I want to go to sleep early and be ready for cooking, and I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
drink and do all the mess that they need over there.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the reason I didn't stay that long over there. But then I feel like more important is that you win in real life, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And then after Hell's Kitchen, I opened Beyond Sushi, did the whole thing. And in 2018, I got approached and asked if I want to go on Shark Tank. So we went on Shark Tank.
What were you pitching on Shark Tank?
So no, I mean we had a long time aspiration to move to not move, but do more than one city.
Mm-hmm.
We're in New York, but LA is much bigger than New York on the
Mm-hmm.
vegan scene and
Mm-hmm.
the vegetarian scene. We decided that we're gonna pitch that, and if the money is right, and if we get the deal, that we would move along and expand to the West Coast as well. And I did that, and I got a deal. But after the deal was done on TV, the deal in real life, and after doing due diligence for a very long time, 7 months into it, a lot of lawyers and a lot of money, I decided
Pursue
not to
it.
go forward. Yeah, because we weren't aligned on a lot of things, and the
Mm-hmm.
control thing really matters to me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do today. Willow, take it here, do it there. You got to do board meetings on everything. Not for me.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
It does get more complicated. And then the more people that start coming into your business as investors, you're right, you dilute your ownership of the company. And
It's okay if the money was right.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
okay. I mean, at that price, that dilution or control was too much for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That, and was that an easy decision to make, or was that a
Oh
tough
no.
one?
Oh no. I mean, look, they're very good people.
Right.
They can be very helpful for a business. And I saw the upside. It's not only about the money. There's a lot to it, right? So you get people that are in this world that know what they're doing, that have connections everywhere, that can expand and take you to different places. I I saw that value more than the money. Money,
Mm-hmm,
okay, it's just numbers for me.
mm-hmm,
It's dollars, but it's just numbers by
mm-hmm.
now. So it's it's basically it basically broke my mind trying to do it, and we tried in many ways. It wasn't like, oh, I'm giving up. I tried in many ways for it to
Mm-hmm.
work, but we weren't aligned on the control and how things are going to work.
So that just became a deal breaker for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important for business owners to know what are deal breakers for their
Yeah.
businesses, for their companies, and what's okay, where you're going to compromise, and then the areas where you're just like, nope, this is my business, this is my vision. And so that's really cool. So now, how is the restaurant world? What are some of the challenges that you faced in the industry, especially being a vegan business or, vegan catering to vegan palates? Were there any challenges in that area also?
There are. I mean, thank God what we have cherished and always pursued is returning customers and loyal customers in the community. And we don't just serve vegan customers. I
Right.
mean, more than 50% of our customers are not vegetarian or vegan. But we have loyal customers that come to us, and they've been supporting us through this craziness as much as they can, I think. We dropped a whole lot, going from 150 employees to six. That's how much. That's how much we dropped when first the pandemic happened. Today we're back to like 75, but it was hard. But I don't think that we faced any other challenges than any other restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in groups of like restaurant owners and operators. We're all in the same boat. We just
Mm-hmm.
don't have enough business in New York City as it is, and hopefully, I mean, it is going up, but until tourism comes back, until the city comes back to life, until people feel comfortable eating indoors at full capacity. Till all that happens, it's going to be hard because you're paying top dollar for real estate over here. You're not paying, you know.
Come to Houston. Come to
I thought about it.
Houston.
I thought about it.
Houston's culinary scene is next level.
Yeah.
And people, it's a much more open city right now than a lot of the other, the bigger cities in the nation. But Houston is such a hot spot for food. I mean, the culinary scene's awesome here. You definitely have people who love all types of food, including, it doesn't matter, just like how you said, there's so many people coming in and out that are not vegan or vegetarian. So it's not limited to just those palates, that everybody enjoys it. And so similarly, same thing here. It's been around for a very long time. So come to Houston. I would love it.
I'm not going to deny. I mean, we had thoughts as a family to move. There is a lot of incentives. I mean, to come to the southern states, tax, more relaxed, a lot of other things that are very hard here in New York, but you can't discount the capital of the world. Not just yet, you know?
No. And when I say come to Houston, I'm like, open up something here.
Open more?
You know? Yeah, open more here. You can have a summer home here. No, you want a winter home here, not a summer home.
Yeah. I am too much of a control freak. I like to touch my business. I let go. I mean, that's something I learned in the past few years, to how to let go and let people do their job in my business, because I was too much into their jobs. But I like to touch I work in the kitchen at least 2 nights a week. I cook, whether it's my central kitchen, test kitchen, or in the restaurants, but I dedicate at least 2 services a week to cooking, like being in the trenches and cooking and being there and, you know, commanding the kitchen, whatever it is. But it's part of it.
I think, but I do believe there's a lot of merit to that and value that you add, because you show up for your employees also, you show up for your customers also, and you're showing up for your business. And if you're not in the trenches, then how can you motivate others to be in the trenches with you? So I think there's value to that.
Also, the biggest value I take from it is once you do things, you see them in a whole different perspective, and you can decide how to improve them, how to perfect them, how to make them more efficient. You know.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, if you ever decide to come to Houston, let me know. No, it would be wonderful. Well, this has been so cool. And I know you have had a lot of, ups and downs on your end. So when you have that, what is one thing that anchors you? What is the one thing that holds you steady?
I think that what makes this is a hard business, right? There's every day something. Bathroom broke over here. This one, you got a ticket on that. The health department is coming there. Whatever it is, there's so many things going on, especially in the small real estate market here in New York City. You're paying crazy numbers. Now we have labor shortages. Like, I've never seen something like that in my life. Crazy stuff. But if you focus on the fact that you do what you love, right? I wake up and I'm excited to go to work. Hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. I'm cooking today. I'm going to this location, that location. It's got to be a happy environment and good for you to go to work. Even though it's hard, I love it. So I don't see myself doing anything else. I mean, maybe I'll be a farmer, but that's about it.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. You've shared so much wisdom, and your journey has been truly very beautiful. And I love how you've taken all your experiences and let it influence your future. And I think that's been so wonderful. Now, if somebody wanted to reach out to you or contact you or visit one of your restaurants, how would they do that?
They can go to our websites, beyondsushi.com or willownewyork.com, or they can follow me or the business at Beyond Sushi NYC or Chef Guy Vaknin or Willow New York on Instagram. We're prominently on that platform more than the other ones. So
wonderful. I'll put all of that in the show notes as well. And
Thank
just
you.
just some fun questions. What is one of your favorite? Do you read? Actually, that should be my first question. Are you like a reader, or
I do.
like what is one of your favorite books? Whether it's personal,
Uh,
business, it doesn't matter.
I think that a must read for every aspiring entrepreneur, whatever you're in. You should look into Jocko Wilkins' Extreme Ownership. That's a great book, and he, in my mind, epitome of great leadership and ownership. It comes. I connected because I come from the military world, and
Mm-hmm.
he's an ex-marine. But there's so many great things in that book that would help anybody become a better leader, a better owner, a better entrepreneur. So
Mm-hmm.
taking responsibility is 101 for me. So extreme ownership,
Extreme
Jocko
ownership.
Willink.
Awesome. That's going to be the show notes as well. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really appreciate the time and the effort, because it truly took us an effort to get on this call this morning.
Yes.
Zoom was not being our friend.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, I'm just so thankful and grateful for you to be here with us today. So
Thank you for
thank
having me.
you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, and good luck. I cannot wait to visit one of your restaurants soon.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining Law Chat with Girja. I love these kind of stories and conversations where we can be real, honest, and open, and having fun at the same time. I hope you are inspired and motivated to keep doing the amazing work you are doing. If this is something that gave you all those feels and then some, truly motivated and inspired for you, you can show your love in all or one of these ways. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with your community and tell them about it, or share with somebody that can benefit from it. I look forward to seeing you next time on another episode of Law Chat, and until then, keep moving forward. Bye.